Hey, can I talk to you for a minute?
Not now, we're playing.
Just a minute.
Okay.
Pretty little black boy, your life is filled with sorrow and unpredictable tomorrows. Pretty little black boy, I know it's hard for you to smile, 'cause I've stood and watched a while. Keep your head up high.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his true messenger to the black man and black woman here in the wilderness of North America. And the most honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is continuing those great programs and teachings. Welcome to the Journal of Truth. I'm your brother Sami Muhammad, and this evening we're going to have an in-depth discussion about education. We have a special guest with us this evening, and we're going to talk about black education. All praise is due to Allah. As you all know, unity is the key. Since Allah, God, did not come to us quarreling, why should we quarrel with one another? We must recognize and respect his love for us, and not let him hear us quarreling and disrespecting his presence. Proudness is a sickness. This is why we are divided. We will be one or nothing. The more you learn, the less you seek advantage. Don't be careful that you agree on right, but be careful that you don't agree on wrong. Don't withhold your good just because another withholds his good. You do your part. Greeting a Muslim is binding upon you. If you do not, your mind is not right. The right medicine for the disease in our heart is the spirit of Allah. Fear is the worst enemy of man. When you find a man that doesn't fear, that is the winner. These are the words of our beloved messenger Elijah Muhammad, and he calls this great teaching to you and to us a thought on unity. So, brothers and sisters, let us set aside our differences in this dreadful day of judgment that we now find ourselves in and unite together. To our Christian family or whatever religion you are involved in, we are reaching out to unite with each and every one of you. Remember, we are all black men and black women, so we got to come together. The time of unity is at hand, and education during this hour is so important. So here with me this evening is our great brother, Brother Norman Muhammad. You all know the great one, Brother Norman. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Assalamu, sir. How you feeling?
I'm feeling excellent. And on my left here is our great brother Sean, and we're going to talk about education. We were talking off camera about a few things, and I would like our brother Sean to brief our listening audience to your program and your mission and what you up for.
Well, thank you for having me, Brother Sami.
You're welcome, brother.
Greatly appreciate it. Once again, my name is Sean Rouse. I'm president and founder of the Detroit HBCU Network. We've been around for 12 years now. We've been a nonprofit organization for the last 4. Our mission are the 3 A's: advocacy, awareness, alignment. We take our time in bringing awareness to our young people about our academic excellence that our HBCUs, which are historically black colleges and universities, have to provide to them. Also, we also align them with the correct school. Now, we have 107 HBCUs, all great schools. Some kids want to go to Howard, but they don't have the Howard money. But we can find a smaller school like a Stillman or a Fisk University that can provide the same education for them. So we try to put them in place at the right school. And we advocate for all HBCUs. We have close to 40 local alumni chapters representing 40 HBCUs here. So we do our part to help them raise funds for the individual chapters. From a recruitment standpoint, we help our students find the right school. I'm a graduate, proud graduate of Tennessee State University, and TSU may not be the right school for them. So I'm going to point them in the right direction to an Alabama State or a Hampton University, put them in the right place that'll best suit them.
What determines on whether a student or a college is right for the student? If they're all historical black colleges, what determines the college being right for them?
We have to base it on majors. Some schools may have varying programs. We may not have a program at Tennessee State that a North Carolina A&T may provide. And also, it also comes down to finances as well. Some schools are more expensive than others. We have a lot of private universities that are, in most cases, almost $30,000 and above. But we can also get a student to, say, a Tennessee State University, which is in the mid-20s, that may be more affordable for them. So sometimes it's academic, sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's a combination of both. And from an academic standpoint, you have situations where a student may not be of the academic elite coming out of high school, but you have some of our HBCUs that will bridge them over. They may not have the best grades, but those schools will bring them in and build them up academically and prior to matriculating through their programs there. So
that once they get raised up to that level, then they could go to another college?
More than likely, they'll stay at that school. You have schools that have bridge programs that, say, for example, if a student has maybe just a 2.0 GPA, you have a lot of schools that require at least a 2.5 and above, but you'll have that specific school that will bring them in at a 2.0 and help them get their degree so they wouldn't have to transfer anywhere.
So in essence, they're overcoming difficulties.
Yes, when I've been recruiting on the behalf of Tennessee State, my alma mater, since I graduated in 2001. And what I've discovered is you have different kids, especially here in the Metro Detroit area here, and specifically in the city, that run into a number of issues that hinder them academically. Let's talk about the student that's the second parent in the house, and they're helping moms at work, they're getting their brothers and sisters together for school. They're picking them up from school. They're helping their brothers and sisters with their homework before they can get to their own academic needs. They're preparing their meals for their brothers and sisters before mom or dad gets home from work. And then studying is maybe a second thought. They're up late at night trying to take in as much information as they can before the next school day starts. And then you have a student that, quite honestly, that doesn't get a decent meal. You got a number of kids that don't get a meal until they get to school, and that's it. And I don't know anybody that can concentrate on one meal a day. It's just, it doesn't happen that way. Right. And then you have our young people now, which are facing more peer pressure, more bullying nowadays than we did as students, that make it hard to study. We still live in a day and age, especially in the black community, where it's not cool to get A's and B's. You still got some people with that mentality. And, we have to start producing what some of our friends call black nerds, and I'm definitely proud to be a black nerd, And those are some of the elements that I've seen that, affect our young people as far as going to the next level. And one, they have the desire, but they didn't necessarily have the grades, but we have different resources to help them get there.
Right. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan has set up self-improvement courses in the Nation of Islam, which we say self-improvement is the basis of community development. And one of the lessons of that class is overcoming difficulties. And the Honorable Louis Farrakhan teaches us that the difficult factor intensifies the closer we get to our goals.
Right.
So it's something that we must be taught and trained on and how to deal with it. He's also teaching us that the difficult factor is attached to everything of value. So you, Brother Sean, realize the importance of how important it is to be educated for the black students, especially our younger generation.
Absolutely.
We're focusing on them where you don't be made mockery of because you get A's and B's in school.
Right.
See, this is something that has been very heavy in our community growing up as black people here in America.
Yes.
Always the condemnation, like it was something wrong with being smart. See,
Right.
and so this is something that we, over the years, through the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, have learned how to approach this and how to overcome this. Our great brother, Brother Norman, has been in many different businesses as a black man and educator. What do you think about this, Brother Norman?
Oh, I'm listening to it. I'm enjoying it very much because I have one grandson now is at Valdosta State. I have another grandson who will be enrolling in Valdosta State that just finished high school in Atlanta, Georgia. I have one son that graduated from the University of Detroit. I have one son, Norman Jr., that graduated from Clark College. And I have my son, Lamar, that mathematics graduate at Southern University.
Okay.
So I passed by all the colleges, and I've been in some of them to visit, walked down some of the halls, met some of the teachers,
Yes, sir.
but I never attended. But Allah blessed me to attend the University of Islam and going through the knowledge of what they don't teach in the schools from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan. So I agree with what they need to do, and I pray that our people study, because this next generation, that's what they're going to need to have is an education.
Yes, sir.
And
Absolutely.
they can't steal one.
Absolutely.
That's right.
They can't find one on the side of the road. They have to go into the buildings.
Yes, sir.
Some building, pull up a book and have somebody teach them, show them the way down the street, show them the light, turn on the light for them.
Is this, how can they get in contact with you, Brother Sean? Do you have your email address or your phone number? Please give that information out to our listening audience. It's so important.
Absolutely. They can reach us at our website at DetroitHBCU.org. Once again, that's www.DetroitHBCU.org. We have a wealth of information on our website in regards to listing of all 107 of our historically black colleges and universities. We also have a page which gives a long list of different scholarship options. So once again, finances are always the last question that's asked. How do we pay for it?
Right.
And we have a
Right.
number of financial resources. We have a number of individuals here that have helped us along the way to help these kids get their financial aid papers in order, help them look for scholarships. But when everything is said and done, Brother Sami, Brother Norman, it's about them putting forth the effort, and that's one of the roadblocks that we still have with the students, and I also put the responsibility on the parents as well.
Yes, sir.
The money's out there. They have to go after it, and they don't do their due diligence to go get quite honestly, you have almost billions of dollars specifically for African Americans that are out there from various organizations, various businesses that have the money just sitting there. You don't always have to be a straight A student to get a scholarship. You have scholarships, quite honestly, and this is no joke, for left-handed people, just as an example.
Yes, sir.
But you have to go looking for it.
You got to go looking for it.
You know,
can't just sit back.
Exactly. I go back to when me and my mother were looking for these scholarships, and this was before the internet. So we were not, you didn't have the privilege of going online and going to various websites and clicking and filling out the information there and
Right.
sending it off. You know, we were knocking on doors.
Right.
We were literally typing up letters to send a letter to an organization saying, please send me a scholarship application.
Right.
So we were doing it in a more archaic way.
Yeah.
And now, if I had the internet with, access as if like these young people do, I probably wouldn't have had to pay for anything. I won a few academic scholarships, but it helped along the way. Still had to come out of our own pocket, but it helped.
You know, teachers are the foundation of the government.
Yes.
You know, the teachers prepare countries in their future. So if you're not taking care of your teachers and your government, then you're going to have a serious educational problem. You know,
Absolutely.
the America's educational system is going through turbulence right now.
Yes.
We see this. We see it on the news. What's going on from the colleges on down to the elementary schools? This is going on. So I think it's very important that you, with regards to these black colleges, that the children and the students understand clearly who we are and whose we are at this time in history, so that they can be very serious about obtaining the education. As Brother Norman said, you can't steal it. You know, it's not just laid down somewhere. You got to go in through the doors into the building, get the books, and get the knowledge and the wisdom.
Absolutely.
And it's so important that with this education that our children get a thorough knowledge of themselves. They must learn who we are. And this will set aside this mockery that we have had growing up as black children in America, making fun of the brother or the sister that was smart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what that does mentally to a brother or a sister, that it has to deal with that type of approach.
Absolutely.
You know, it can give us a low self-esteem, a low self-image about ourselves,
Right.
and this is going on. So to raise this up, this is where we know the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is right and exact, because it gives us a confidence in ourselves after studying who we are.
Absolutely.
And then we can go out and take care of business to help our people. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So again, this you all have any programs or where people can come out and you can they can speak with you about the programs that you have established for the historic black colleges?
Well, one of the things that we've been doing for now the last 12 and a half years, we recruit heavily. We attend a number of college fairs in the Metro Detroit area, specifically in the city, various high schools. A number of large churches invite us out to participate. And one of our staples through the Detroit HBCU network that we've been doing since our existence, what we call our HBCU rap session.
Okay.
The rap session consists of panelists, usually between 8 to 10 panelists from 8 to 10 different historically black colleges and universities. We talk about, quite honestly, the good, the bad, the ugly. None of these
Right.
schools are perfect. But we talk about why we chose our school, talk about what we did, our various experiences while we were in undergrad, and we talk about our postgraduate experience. And that gives them kind of a personal look on what we had to go through to achieve graduation.
Okay.
And I know we've changed a lot of minds over the last 12 and a half years, because we're not only talking with the students, we're also talking with the parents.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
And we have a lot of parents that have some questions that need to be answered. We usually draw a large crowd, And usually the parents are the ones that's asking the questions. Sometimes the kids are either too afraid or too cool to raise their hand, you know.
Right,
And
right.
but we have a very intimate conversation. We have a very keeping it real conversation. We also talk about the do's and don'ts. We let the kids know that when you leave, and you're going to leave out the state of Michigan to go to one of our HBCUs, you're representing your family. So
Right.
you have to, you know, act accordingly. You know, don't give them a reason to have to come down there, you know. And that's speaking from personal experience. You know, my mother, graduate of Wayne State, she wanted me to have that experience. So she let me go. I know it was hard for her.
Right.
And that's another thing we talk about. Sometimes the parents are scared to let these kids go. You have to let them go. You have to let them see the world that you didn't necessarily see.
Are you only child? You have brothers and sisters?
I'm an only child.
Okay.
And I know how difficult that was for my mother and I. And I preach to a lot of these parents, whether they have one child or two, you have to let them get out there and explore. You should be
Right.
able to want to tell these other parents and your other relatives about your son or daughter who's out there doing their thing, and be able to, you know, tell a story about them, say how proud you are about their exploration, and being able to come back and tell you what they've seen.
These rap sessions that you all have, do you have any coming up anytime soon?
Right now, we're in the works to do a senior day for just strictly high school seniors here in Detroit Public School and get them ready. We do have an annual HBCU Day Expo that we do annually, and we're looking. We usually do that in the fall, but we're moving into the beginning of 2019. That's for the entire surrounding community. Not only will they be able to talk to college representatives, we definitely will have our rap session, but we also have individuals coming in to talk to our students about financial aid, how to prepare for it, what parents need to do, what students need to do to prepare financially to pay for college. So we try to cover everything in that regard.
What, when you're speaking with the students, what are some of the majors in the discussions that you've had with them that they're focusing on?
Right now, STEM is probably at the top of the list. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics. We have a number of students that are looking to go into one of those areas. But under that, you're looking at a number of budding entrepreneurs. We have a lot more students now that approach our tables and say, I want to own my own business.
Okay.
And a lot of our schools provide entrepreneur programs under the School of Business to help them learn how to grow and market their brand.
Oh, okay.
And then right now, one of the up and coming is agriculture.
I was just thinking that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, in his, he was addressing some students, I believe it was at Howard University, and he asked, with a show of hands, how many of them were going into agriculture, and just a couple of hands went up.
Right.
So he was letting them know that more of you need to be getting into farming.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And don't look at it as in a negative sense, it's because everybody's eating food.
Absolutely.
So you can't get around. The farmers are most important, you know, to everybody.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's so important that we have more of our students going into farming, that they've come to know and understand the importance of farming. You know,
Absolutely.
it's something that we was doing back in the day as slaves, physical slaves, in farming their lands for them.
Right.
You see, so maybe it's a thing that we don't want to associate with subliminal because of what our ancestors had to go through during that time in our history.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But it's something that we really need to become aware of. We got a few more minutes, Brother Norman. You want to
And I was
comment?
going to comment on today's Free Press, talking about the squatters. in Detroit, Michigan, and they say the squatters are farming all over the city of Detroit. Not black farmers, white folks are coming into the city of Detroit, squatting on land and farming. All these farms you see around Detroit, these are white people coming in farming in the city of Detroit, and our people walking right by the farms, right next door to them, where people come in and grow anything they want to grow, and put a fence around it, and put different things around it where you see them out there planting and growing, and wave at them and walk right by.
Yes, sir.
You see, so black people have to stop and take a look and stop walking by. You know, if you point out to them what they're doing in the community, you know, and they see them putting up hoopers and things all around the city, and right there on Custard, right in the city of Detroit, right downtown. They got 5 square blocks, brother, growing food right in the middle of the black neighborhood. And they're doing it on each side of town. They got 3 and 4 farms.
Yes, sir.
You know, so we got to stop and think and see taking up what they're doing. You don't have to squat, but buy some of that land and grow some food.
Yes, sir. Well,
Absolutely.
brothers and sisters, we at the end of the Journal of Truth for today. We want to thank our great Brother Sean, again. Give out that number where they can get in contact with you, Brother Sean.
Well, my number is 313-585-4693, and also can be reached at my email at seanrouse@detroithbcu.org. That's SEANROUSE @detroithbcu.org.
Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. We'd like to invite you to come out this coming Sunday to hear our great minister, Troy Muhammad, at 14880 Wyoming, the historic Muhammad Mosque No. 1, Michigan, at 11 o'clock. We hope and pray that Almighty God, Allah, blesses each and every one of us to see, to hear, and to understand the life-giving teachings of Messenger Elijah Muhammad, being continued by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Contact our brother Sean for those of you who are interested in black colleges, so that you can go and get this action in process. Thank you for listening as we greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.